Hello, I'm Christina. So for this problem, we're first asked to graph it in our graphing utility. So I can go ahead and use my utility and just input the function that I'm given. I just want to be extra careful when I'm doing this that I am inputting everything exactly as written. But I go ahead, I do that, I press graph, and you might not see exactly what you were hoping to see when you initially press graph. Anytime that happens to me, I want to toggle perhaps the window settings, either practice zooming in or zooming out or making some adjustments until I can see what I'm looking for. So in this circumstance, I'm going to go to Window, and they've told me that I'm only interested in the values of x where x is between 70 and 115. So I'm going to change my x minimums and maximums in my utility, set my x minimum to 70 and my x maximum to 115. And if I go ahead and check that, I see that it's still not quite working for me. And what I want to do is effectively adjust my y minimum and maximum so that the graph will zoom in on what's important to me. So I played around with it a little bit and saw that the y maximum, if I set it to 0.05 and the y minimum to 0, that'll give me a nice appropriate zoom to show me the graph that I'm looking for. And you'll notice that it is a bell curve. So something like that. The second part of the question asks us to estimate or identify the average IQ. Now we know with the bell curves, the average IQ, the mean of my bell curve, is going to be right in the center there. Well, how can I find that using my graphing utility? I notice that it corresponds with my y maximum. So if I'm able to use my utility to figure out my y maximum, that point, it'll identify a point for me with an x value and a y value. The x value will be the appropriate IQ. If I know I'm ranging from 70 to 115, I'm looking again for the x value that's going to correspond to this y maximum. Now on my utility, now that I've already inputted the graph, I can go ahead, I want to find my calculus feature. On my utility, I press second trace, brings me to calc. I see I can select maximum. It'll prompt me to perhaps press enter once I've bound the maximum on the left. I scroll, I do the same thing on the right, just kind of guiding my utility to make sure it's identifying the right thing for me. I press enter and it's going to go ahead and tell me that this point is that. The important part is that I've identified the corresponding x value that goes along with the y maximum. So this tells me that my estimated average would be 100 points. And that is how we do this problem.